We've got loads and loads of stuff growing in containers in this greenhouse. And as you might know, we've had them growing for quite a while, since before Christmas. And we've just covered them with fleece and bubble wrap and whatever we'd needed to, just to make sure that frost don't kill them off. And so far, we've done quite well out of it. Some things haven't worked out quite as good as we hoped, but others seem to be perfectly alright in this environment that we've created for them. Especially things like this. That's a cauliflower. And it's in a small container. It's about 12 litres. But you can see the plant is perfectly happy in there. It's growing really well. And we're hoping to get a small harvest of a cauliflower. Just a small head, about that size, would be perfectly fine. And we've done the same with a Savoy cabbage. Again, looking really healthy. No damage to it at all. And this one's only in a 10 litre container. And again, no problems with any roots. We set up a tray of these as well. They're carrots in a very small tray. Not a very deep tray, because they're called Paris Market carrots, so they actually grow into round balls rather than long tap roots. And we're hoping we could get quite a lot out of these. And so far, so good. Obviously, we just need to keep his eye on watering for two reasons. Because once sun comes out, it'll dry your shallow containers out a lot quicker. And it won't be long before your plants go over, if you don't keep an eye on them. But also, you've got to be careful about watering them. Try not to top water, or you'll squash delicate little plants like this down onto compost, and then they won't get back up and they'll just die. So we're trying to be really careful with this tray at the moment. And that's because it's still quite cold, so everything is growing really slowly. It takes a little bit longer for plants to become more mature and stronger, so they can combat certain elements. We also set this tub up quite recent, only a few days ago, and that is full of different types of lettuce. And everything is starting to come along really well. So we're quite pleased with this container. And again, very small, delicate plants. Quite easy to knock them down with a sharp blast of water. So on days like this, when it's drizzling, that's perfect for me to just pop it outside, just for 5 minutes, so they get a nice little misting of water. And that'll be enough to keep them going for a few days. We've got a parsnip container as well, and you can see they're looking alright. We've had the odd one where the leaves have started to go yellow, but the plants are still growing. And as you know, parsnips are very cold hardy, so everything should be perfectly fine in this container. I just keep going through now and again, and I take away any leaves that don't look too good. Any that's starting to turn brown and die off, get rid of those straight away. Plus, it can actually pass on problems to leaves that do look quite healthy. So it doesn't hurt just once a week to go around your containers and just take away anything that doesn't seem like it's going to survive. Even to the point where if almost the entire plant's not looking very good, just take that out and concentrate on ones that do look alright. And you won't hurt your plants by taking off leaves from them. You're doing them a favour. They'll regrow new ones. And sometimes a lot of the leaves that you see decaying in your pots, they'll probably be the first leaves that came out. So they've done their job. So don't let them ruin the next stage. Same thing with these containers of spring onions. There's lots of nice stems on them, but there's also quite a few that aren't going to make it. So you're better off just getting rid of those. Just pull them out. Take away that attraction before something happens. If they're starting to go yellow like that one, they're no good, so you might as well just get rid. Or you could just chop the entire top off of these spring onions and then sort through the bad ones from the good. But then this will start to grow back, but it'll have brand new clean foliage this time. And that's one that we did recent. That was the same as the tub you've just seen. Some of them were starting to go a bit white. So what we did is we took a big cutting from this container, and it wasn't going to waste because we use this in its cooking. And if you haven't seen Cooking Channel already, then maybe go and take a look at that, because that's where you'll see what we do with things like this and everything else that we grow all year long. We make some really nice meals. But the point is, since giving it that cutting only last week, you can see how much this is now starting to grow back, and it looks a lot healthier. And so does us broad beans, now full of flowers. Looking really well. Some of these flowers start to die off, we'll start getting as beans. And you can see that's quite an healthy looking plant. We've got a little bit of damage to a bottom leaf there, but that's a bottom leaf, so just pinch it off. You don't need it. You need to be concentrating on all this top part more than anything, and try and keep them tied up like we do as well, because if they get a little bit top heavy and they go over and that stem gets a kink in it, it might kill the plant off. And we've got an even smaller one, and again that's starting to flower. It needs a little bit of water and maybe a stick popping in this one as well. So for the sake of a couple of seconds, pop that stick in, and then you can tie this plant up as it grows. Then it's not going to get damaged, and that's that job done. Meanwhile, we've got this container. That's full of salad that we've planted previously, but now it's got to quite a good size. We've got spring onions coming up in there as well, and they're looking quite healthy. They didn't look very clever a few weeks ago, but that was due to that cold, that frost. But they have picked back up with being cold hardy after that. But apart from that, we've got spinach leaves in here. And we're doing this so that we can grow them, harvest, and let them grow again. So quite big leaves, like that one. Even in February, we've got spinach that's ready to harvest. So we might as well take it. Just going around and cutting off good sized leaves. And we have got some that have got the odd munch out of it. But if you're not so particular, you could just cut away that chewed bit and keep that piece. It's not what everybody likes to do, but that's up to individual. So basically I'll just go around cutting away the best looking leaves that I can find. All really good stuff, and very welcome so early in season. But as you're taking away these bigger leaves, you're encouraging the plant to grow even more. So then you can keep harvesting these same plants 2 or 3 times before they're done. And you need to be getting spinach quite early in season, because if it gets too hot, it will go to seed, start growing flowers, and then it's no good. So you're not only getting nice fresh spinach, you're giving this plant a bit more light by taking away the big leaves. It's getting better aeration at the same time. And now these small leaves will start to grow even faster. And that's the reason why we do it. Just make sure you leave a few on. Don't take everything away from your plant. And just for the sake of a few cuttings, you can end up with a nice little harvest for spinach. So we've took a nice little harvest, but we've still got plenty in there to grow on. I've even got this one as well. This is a different variety of spinach, and it's a baby leaf one, so you can see how tiny those leaves are. The same as what we did before, we just go around and cut away loads of these little ones as well. And these have basically not really been touched by anything, so that's even better. There might be smaller leaves, but we're going to get more. So cut them back, let them grow on. The thing about spinach is, if you leave it too long, what happens is the leaves start to go pointy. And the more pointy them leaves get, the more bitter that leaf will taste. So try and get them while they're still round on end. So we've now took a few from that one as well. And then we'll pop that to one side and let it continue growing. But what you've got there is a nice little side salad or some fresh tasty leaf to put on your sandwiches. As we mentioned earlier on with this plant, it's got quite a bit of foliage on it that's starting to yellow and die back. So same as we did with that last plant, I basically just gathered them all up like that in a bunch and pinched them all together. And then I cut the lot off. Like that. And I'll basically take this indoors and I'll pull away any of these remaining yellowing leaves, or just cut the ends off if the majority of it's alright. It's going to grow back really quick the closer we get to spring, so you might as well take every harvest that you can when it's available. And just for the sake of a couple of minutes, we've got a nice little amount of spinach in there, and now we've got a really nice tasty bunch of spring onion tops. So it's the first harvest of the year, what we've just done there, while at the same time maintaining the plants that we're growing, that's then going to give us another harvest, and maybe in just a couple of weeks time. So we'll pop that back to one side, and then that will grow on and then start looking just as nice and green as the one we shown you earlier. Your cabbages, very susceptible to slug damage. Bottom leaves yellowing, take them off. The plant will still carry on growing. We've seen them really devastated in greenhouses over the last couple of months by slugs and snails, and now they're all starting to pick back up. But the longer you leave those decaying leaves on there, the more attractive that's going to be to slugs and snails. So they're just going to keep coming back and coming back to this plant until you've got nothing left. So go around everyone, get rid of those unhealthy looking leaves and leave yourself with a better looking plant. So you can see that even this early in season, we've still got something out of that. And the more maintenance that we do, the closer eye we keep on as plants, the better harvest we're going to get between now and spring. So start as you mean to go on, because the minute you take your eyes off these plants and don't do that little bit of maintenance, the less and less you're going to start and get. And I'm quite happy to be getting that in February. And if you saw a previous video, we was talking about these little containers we got, which are basically just caravan washing up bowls, and we've drilled holes in bottom, and we're going to start and plant loads of things into these because they hold quite a lot of compost. So if you're small space gardening, they're going to be perfect. But I have also kept a few of these and not drilled holes in them as well, because they're perfect size for those 10-litre containers that we're growing lots of things in. So when it does get really sunny and really warm, we can bottom water all these plants just by dropping them into this little tub with a couple of inches of water, and then that's going to take some of the pressure off if you've got quite a lot of things to water in between spring and summer like we do. So we'll save some of those for that purpose, and if I spot any more, I shall be buying a few more as well. We've just started getting some of us violas as well, self-seeded ones from last year. We potted them on, they're starting to flower up, some of them starting to decay a little bit. So to give this plant a fighting chance and get more and more flowers off it, again, it's a little bit of maintenance, just going around taking away any dead leaves. And as it warms up, this plant's going to get even bigger, and we'll be potting it on, so we've got a nice little bit of colour come early spring. And while we're planting new things every other day, we've got the stuff that we've already planted growing away quite happily in these containers, looking really well. And in a few months' time, these onions are going to start and bulb up, and then it's up to us what we do. If we want to take small onions from this container, we can do that, or we could just leave them and see just how big we can actually grow them in such little compost. And even though it's been quite a devastating year with the cold temperatures, we've got plants like this. This is a red acer, and it looked at the point where it was going to die. Normally you would leave things like that outside, But it was so cold in December, we brought them indoors. And just for the sake of keeping your eye on your plants, this is now starting to leaf back up. And I'm pretty sure that a -4 to -6 would have killed that outright. So again, it's just a case of keeping your eye on that weather and keeping your eye on your plants, because they'll tell you when they're not happy. Like that one. Those leaves are not happy at all. There's nothing wrong with this plant, it's not dying. It's just that it's not being watered. And we've had a couple of days of sun, and that's all it takes to knock your plants back. And I think at that point, these leaves might as well come off. I can't see those getting any better. And I'll just leave myself that healthy looking one there. And it should be alright now. So we'll keep maintaining these plants. We'll keep sowing more seeds to get more plants. So that apart from the big spinach containers, we've got little ones that we're growing on. And then we'll sow more seeds. And try and keep that succession of plantings going all the way through here. And I'm going to be planting a few more things today as well. And I think again, we're going to put some in these little tubs. If you want to see what that is, then please hit that subscribe button and press that notifications bell. And we look forward to seeing you on the next update. Take care.